Hey guys, welcome to the number 26 or December 8th edition of WWMS, our weekly Friday Flex show here on the Fairfield Woods YouTube channel. Guys, we know we haven't posted a show in a while, so we're looking forward to you guys seeing this edition because we prepared some really cool things for you guys. For starters, for the next 3 weeks before the holiday season, we're going to break down one holiday movie on Netflix, kind of before the holiday season to prepare you guys for that. And I had the wonderful privilege of speaking to the author of the Because of Mr. Terupt and Perfect Score series, Buyea. But before we do all of that, let's start off with our joke of the week. What do you call an illegally parked frog? A toad. We hope you guys got some enjoyment out of that very funny joke. But before we get into anything, let's start off with Arav's geopolitical segment about Hanukkah, which began last night, and more.
What's up? First off, for today's current event segment, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority is continuing their rollout of their new One Metro New York or Omni system. Up until 2019, if you wish to ride the New York City subway, the Roosevelt... What's up, dudes? First off, for today's current event segment, What's up, dudes? First off, for today's current event segment, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority is continuing their rollout of their new One Metro New York or Omni system. Up until 2019, if you wish to ride the New York City subway, the Roosevelt Island tram, or any New York City buses, you would have to go through the tricky and almost intimidating process of buying a Metro card. This payment system became a huge reason for tourists and locals alike to choose private transportation instead of public transportation, which caused more congestion and pollution in the streets of New York. Omni is a program where you can tap a credit card, smartphone, or watch that is capable of NFC or near-field connection, which is most people refer to as contactless payment. And the receiver that you tap that on will automatically charge you the $2.90 fare and allow you into the system. If you do not have access to a contactless device, they also are creating a new program where you would be able to buy Omni card from Omni vending machines across the system. Currently, these high-tech, fast-moving Omni vending machines, totally different than Metro card vending machines, have been rolled out, but are not functional yet at the 86th and Lexington Avenue station, the Bowling Green station, the Atlantic Avenue Barclay Center station, the Junction Boulevard station, the Fordham Road station, and the other Fordham Road station on the B&D trains. Okay, so for now, let's move to a historical segment dedicated to the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah. Hanukkah falls on the 25th day of the Jewish or Hebrew calendar month Kislev, which generally falls in the Gregorian or American calendar month of November or December. Hanukkah dates 2,000 years back to 175 BCE, when the ancient Greeks took over Judah, or what is now Israel, and began to not allow Israelis and Jews to practice their religion. The first time, the Jews fought back, but this angered the king, so he sent his troops to a holy place in Jerusalem, which is a major city today for many religions and is still covered with conflict to this day. They totally ransacked the temple and replaced all the pictures of Jewish gods with Zeus, the highest Greek god. Because of these acts, Jews came together under Judah Maccabee to fight the Greeks. These fighters were often referred to as Maccabees. Finally, after 3 years of brutal fighting, the Greeks were thrown out of the temple in Jerusalem. Jews were allowed to freely practice their religion again. Upon the Maccabees returned to the temple, they were depleted and tired, and the temple was as well. There was only enough oil in a lamp to light for one day and give them heat for a whole day. But, miraculously, in their efforts, scrambling to get more resources, it lasted for 8 full days, 7 more than the original. Thus, the 7 candles on a menorah. The 7-branched holder that holds 7 candles to be lit over the days of Hanukkah. And with that, peace out, dudes.
I am personally someone who celebrates Hanukkah, so I'm very excited for the holiday and all of the excitement that it brings this holiday season. Happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate. In some sports news, there is not much for a 4-8 Jets fan to celebrate about right now. But there is one thing to get excited about. Aaron Rodgers, the all-time great quarterback the Jets acquired this offseason, could possibly return before the season ends despite suffering what planned to be a season-ending Achilles tear. The usual recovery time for an Achilles tear is usually between 8 to 12 months. Well, Rodgers, who suffered the injury in early September, has been open to the 21-day practice window, meaning he will practice with the team. Now, NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reports it is unlikely that he will return to the field this season, especially considering the Jets may already be out of postseason contention when he would come back. But if Rodgers does make the comeback in just 3 months, it would be one of the greatest stories and recoveries in sports history. In other news, and most of you middle schoolers listening to this will probably like it, the commonly used word Riz was picked by Oxford Languages as the word of the year, beating out other contenders, including the newly created word in slang Swiftie to represent Taylor Swift diehard fans. It speaks to how younger generations create spaces, online or in person, where they can own and define the language they use, the publisher said. From activism to dating and wider culture, differences in perspectives and lifestyle play out in language too. Riz, the word that technically defines style, charm, or the ability to attract, was picked among the 22 billion words in the English language this year as the word of the year. And trust me, I'm as surprised as you are. But speaking of English, a guy who knows how to write it very well is author Rob Buyea and his classic book series. And I got to speak to him a few weeks ago about his career as an author, some touches he added to his Mr. Terupt books, and more. Why don't we start off? When did you realize that you wanted to be an author? And then once you did, what did you really do to pursue that passion and make it a reality?
I didn't realize I wanted to pursue writing until after becoming a teacher. So when I was a kid in middle school, did I want to write books? Absolutely not. Never ever did I think I'd be doing this. It's not anything I was excited about. But sometimes things change. So I ended up becoming a teacher, and when I was in the classroom surrounded by these fun, high energy kids, that's when it clicked for me. I got excited about writing because of their stories, really. And what ended up happening is there came a day when I got hit by a story idea that just took off on me. It grabbed a hold of me and excited me like never before. And it was that idea that wouldn't leave me alone that really set me on the path of trying to write my first book. So,
something I find really interesting about your story is that you were a wrestler, you're a wrestling coach, you were an elementary school teacher. All those things really. Mr. Terupt had a lot of those similarities in the book. How much of being an elementary school teacher and being involved in wrestling do you think really helped you shape Mr. Terupt's character?
Well, Mr. Terupt, I would say, is bits and pieces of me, and then a whole lot of imagination to make him better. And that's true for all my characters. My characters are bits and pieces of all sorts of different people, me, imagination. Glue that stuff together.
But one of the things I do want to talk about is there was Mr. Terupt, but really the story was told by 8 different, really unique but also relatable characters. What were the biggest challenges but also some of the best parts of sort of rewriting the story in 8 different perspectives?
I had never tried writing that way before, Chase. It's just that's how the idea came to me. When it came to me with all of those kids telling me about the first day of school. And so that's how I got started writing it, and I had a lot of fun, which is what you're asking about. It was fun pretending to be each of those kids because they are such different and distinct personalities. It's a lot of fun to do that stuff as a writer. So that's something I discovered early on, that it was fun. And the other thing is honing in on that character's voice. What sorts of things can you do to really bring them alive? And so Luke, in my first book, sharing all those dollar words was fun. That was a lot of fun. So that's one good example.
In school, teachers always tell us, how important it is to edit and revise. How important is editing and revising when you're writing a book?
It is by far most of my work. Revising, doing it over and over and over. That is by far most of my work. And I think one of the hangups might be that you as a student, you the writer, you're just not sure what to do in order to revise it, in order to make it better. So, I work closely with my editor, and I share the piece with my editor, and my editor asks a lot of questions that pushes me to think deeper about characters or situations.
If you had to give one piece of advice to an aspiring author or writer, what would it be and why?
You know what? I'm going to answer that question by saying here's one piece of advice for all of you, no matter if you're pursuing writing or pursuing something else. One of the biggest challenges with writing is battling self-doubt. There are days when you don't feel good about it. You think your writing stinks, it's no good, nobody's ever going to want it. So one of the most important things you can do is surround yourself with the right people. Well, have a great holiday and a lot of happy reading to all of you. That's what I'll say. Work hard.
Rob was very excited to come on the show, so we hope you enjoyed it. Along those lines, Rob has offered the wonderful privilege of signing and personalizing books for any of those who would like something like that. So please click the link in the description, scan the QR code right here on the screen, or get his signed, or go to the morning announcement slides if you do want a signed or personalized book. However, the deadline is this Monday, December 11th, so if you guys are interested, please do this quickly. If you need any more information, please contact me or Arav. Thanks so much to Rob for everything. In some tech news, Google has decided to postpone the date that they launched their next-gen chatbot, Gemini, to sometime this January. Gemini is essentially Google's ChatGPT, as their chief executive Sundar Pichai is describing. Pichai postponed the date of the new AI feature because of the struggles it was having responding accurately to non-English prompts, SiliconAngle.com reports. Mike Wheatley of SiliconAngle.com states it is considered the most powerful conversational AI that Google has ever created, but it is not ready to be released to the public. It is projected to come out sometime after the new year, and Pichai is hoping it will overcome other AI platforms such as ChatGPT. And lastly, I want to talk about a new holiday movie, as I mentioned earlier, that has been recently launched on Netflix each week. And the first one I want to talk about this week is titled Noel's Diary. The movie, which launched in 2022, is about a very famous author, Jacob Turner, and how he needs to go back to his house after his mom passes away. But the story goes back and shares the difficult and challenging past Jake and his family had. However, along the journey, he tries to fix some of that difficult past, and he possibly finds the person he's been looking for his whole life. Starring Justin Hartley and Barrett Doss, I think this is a pretty good movie production, and if you like romantic and heartwarming Christmas stories, I would personally recommend watching this holiday season. If you want, I keep messing up.
3 seconds.
All right. If you want to find out more about what I would recommend to do this holiday season, stay tuned for a future episode of Inside the Woods, where I break down exactly how you should do your holiday season this winter. Stay tuned for that and some other content. We have many other Inside the Woods episodes dropping soon, as well as the boys basketball hype video, and if you haven't heard us address it already, we are live streaming every home basketball game, all of this coming on the Fairfield Woods Middle School channel. Be sure to check out our new pieces of content coming soon, and thanks so much for the continuous support on all of our shows. We greatly appreciate it. So that will do it here for an action-packed episode of WWMS, our first episode in 3 weeks. We hope everybody enjoyed, and thanks so much for watching. Shout out to YouTube channels Mr. TC, Mr. Latte, Chase's Sports News, and Sports for Kids. Thanks so much to a great behind-the-scenes crew, alongside Arav Kapoor, signing off here for Fairfield Woods Middle School. I am Chase Coburn, and we'll see you next Friday. But before we do,
Wait 3 seconds.
we hope you guys got some enjoyment out of that very funny joke. We have many things to break down in today's episode, but first let's go to our geopolitical segment about Hanukkah, which began last. Nope, restart. Hold on.
3 seconds.
In some sports news, in some. Boom. Perfect. We did it. It may look a little weird when I'm looking down, but what are we gonna do?